Well, yeah, come on in and welcome to my kitchen table. And kitchen tables are places where people like to sit around and have conversations about important things, unimportant things, and really just kind of getting together sometimes and sharing stories, or in this case, reading a story aloud, because that's what I really like to do. And I found a story which I think is fun to read and hopefully will be fun to listen to. And what it does is it gives me 5 or 6 minutes where I don't have to think about something that I don't want to think about. And it'll give you the same amount of time to do the same thing, which is really the purpose. Now, this story is a fairly well-known story. It's called The Cremation of Sam McGee. And I picked it because it's an easy story to understand and it's fun. Now, in reading the story, the other fun thing, and I would encourage you to do this at home, is to find something where you can be a kind of a character in the story. Now, the narrator of this story is an old prospector, I guess, that this happened to. And I'm going to imagine that, maybe he's the kind of guy who has to keep telling the story to people. He's kind of like the ancient mariner, I guess. And if you imagine him sitting around a campfire someplace and a bunch of guys telling stories to entertain themselves, that's the point, and, keep busy. And somebody has just finished a story that's amazing. And this guy says, "Oh, you think that's amazing? Well, wait till you listen to what happened to me." All right? And maybe he's a little off center. I mean, this is kind of a strange experience, which, if I do this, because I haven't had a haircut in months, be a little off center. All right, let me get my glasses. And I found this on the internet. You can find stories there to read. And so let's just get started here with Cremation of Sam McGee by Robert Service, lived from 1874 to 1958. He was a Yukon poet, although he didn't spend that much time in the Yukon, but that's beside the point. All right, the creation of Sam McGee. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Labarge when I cremated Sam McGee. Now, Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows, and why he left his home in the South to roam round the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell, though he'd often say in his homely way, he'd sooner live in hell. On a Christmas day, we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Oh, cocker, you're cold. Though the parkers fold, it stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes would close, then our lashes froze, so sometimes we couldn't see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. And that very night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, and the dogs were fed and the stars o'erhead were dancing heel and toe, he turned to me, and "Cap," says he, "I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I'm asking that you won't refuse my last request." Well, he seemed so low that I couldn't say no. And then he says with a sort of moan, "It's the cursed cold. And it's got right hold till I'm chilled clean through to the bone. Yet ain't being dead. It's my awful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains." Well, pals, need is a thing to heed, so I swore I would not fail. And as we started on the streak of dawn, but God, he looked ghastly pale. He crouched in the sleigh and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee. And before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death, and I hurried, horror-driven, with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. It was lashed to the sleigh, and it seemed to say, "You may tax your brawn and brains, but you promised me, and it's up to you to cremate my last remains." Now a promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code. In days to come, my lips were dumb and my heart, and I cursed that load. In the long, long night by the lone firelight, while the huskies round in a ring howled out their woes to the homeless snows. Oh God, how I loathed that thing. And every day, that quiet clay seemed to heavy and heavier grow. And on I went, though the dogs were spent and the grub was getting low. The trail was bad and I felt half mad, but I swore I would not give in, and I'd often sing to the hateful thing, and it hearkened with a grin, till I came to the marge of Lake Labarge, and a derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, but I saw in a trice it was called the Alice May. And I looked at it, and I thought a bit, and I looked at my frozen chum. Then here, said I, with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I lit the boiler fire, and some coal that I found lying around, and I heaped the fuel higher. The flames just soared, and the furnace roared, such a blaze you seldom see. And I burrowed a hole in that glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I made a hike, for I didn't like to hear him sizzle so. And the heavens scowled, and the huskies howled, and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold, but the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I don't know why. And the greasy smoke in an inky cloak went streaking down the sky. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear, but the stars came out, and they danced about ere I again ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll just take a peek inside. I guess he's cooked, and it's time I looked. Then the door I opened wide, and there sat Sam, looking cool and calm in the heart of the furnace roar. And he wore a smile you could see a mile, and said, please close that door. It's fine in here, but I greatly fear you'll let in the cold and storm. Since I left Plumtree down in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Labarge. I cremated Sam McGee. All right, now you go get a story and read it to somebody and have fun with it and just bring what you can to the table. I like that, bring it to the table. All right, I'm gonna turn this off now.